Alpine flying is glorious in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, and Mamu Design aims to make it even better with the latest release of its product, Project Lifts. It adds static chairlifts, static gondolas, and animated cable cars to bring new life to your mountain scenery. So in this review, I'll show you some before and after comparisons in a variety of locations around the world. We'll see how Federico from Mamu Design has added ski slope lighting, snow cannons, and even, get this, spoken commentary so you can sit back on a ride in a cable car. It's inventive stuff, so let's fire up Project Lifts, let's hop in my trusty Airbus Helicopters H125, and let's try. Mamu Design sells through SimMarket and also the MSFS Marketplace. Project Lifts is going to cost you about €13 or about 14 US dollars, about 11 UK pounds. I'll put a link to the SimMarket product page in the video description. Now, if you do buy through SimMarket, their app will identify your MSFS community folder and install the add-on for you, and it'll keep Project Lifts up to date. So it'll look something like this, and notice there's a folder called AnimateLifts. We'll be taking a look at that soon. By the way, this works with MSFS 2020 as well, but I'm only reviewing it in 2024. Xbox users, you are in luck. You can buy Project Lifts through the marketplace, but you just won't have access to the animated cable cars, because all of that sits in that separate AnimateLifts app, so it'll just be static cable cars for you. But you will get all of the other enhancements. Support is through the Mamu Design Discord server, and Federico, as his many fans know, is really active on there. He's a valuable member of the scenery development community. So with all of that said, let's get some before and after comparisons. Turoa ski field on the slopes of the giant volcano Mount Ruapehu in the central North Island of New Zealand. On the left, it's a pretty empty scene, just a few auto-generated buildings. And on the right, Project Lifts has pulled OpenStreetMap data to create a much more lively scene with all these chairlifts and other associated equipment. And as dawn breaks in the Vosges Mountains in France, it's still very pretty. But as well as ski lifts, Federico has obtained data on slopes that have lighting, so see the difference yourself. I'm sure you'll agree it's much better. Now, here's something I never imagined I'd see in a flight simulator: snow cannons. I don't think I need to show you a before shot here in Austria. You get the idea. This would just be another blank slope. Here in the after image, you can see a really cohesive scene. Nicely modelled chairlifts and those cannons working away with those nice snow effects too, although not always lined up with the nozzle of the cannon, I see. And yes, Mamu Design has made it so the machines are only active in the winter months. I did notice that with this publicly available data, sometimes the cannons are pointing into the trees, so they're not always aligned, in which case you could get in touch with Federico to report a bug, but all in all, these ones are looking really great. Well, with the spectacular view of the Matterhorn in the distance there, let's have a closer look at the objects here that Federico has designed. So they are not mega high resolution and detail, but they do not need to be. I'm fine with that. I think the texturing and the modeling is just fine for what I need. You don't want to be getting too close to these objects because there is a collision window around them. So you don't want to get within 3 meters of these because you will actually have a collision. So all the more reason to exercise extreme caution when flying in these alpine areas. So the level of detail optimization seems very good here. Looking down there, I think looking down that row of chairs on the chairlift, that seems very good. That is the cable car terminus. I'll deal with that separately later on. Now, these objects will never animate. With the way that these have been inserted into the database and that they are not individually handcrafted, they cannot be animated. So with the way Federico inserts the cable car, which is one way up there, which I'm not currently having animated, he can only animate something like 40 objects at a time. And maybe that's something like one cable car and all of the rollers associated with it, and that one going up, one coming down. So there's only ever one going up, one going down, and that's the limit that he can do, and that can only be drawn at a certain distance. So all of these other objects are sort of dynamically placed from a open source database. So Federico obtains the data from OpenStreetMap, which is such a smart use of open source data. But it does come with certain disadvantages. Here's one I found. It does mean that you just occasionally get sort of odd things like that, just things that don't line up exactly. You can report this to Federico. He's very open to getting things like this sorted out. This gondola here, and I think it goes, it looks like it might be missing a pylon there, and it just seems to go through the ground there. But, you know, that is just the price of not manually coding in these 2 million objects into the sim. There's 2 million of them or more. I mean, there were 2 million Federicos there, but now there's many more placed into the system, into the simulation. So we need to be realistic about this. Sometimes things don't line up properly. That's an example. So that can be dealt with on a case-by-case, and he is very welcome to comments to get these sorts of things sorted out. Now, the animated cable cars, you can actually ride on them. How crazy is that? The idea is you walk up to the station, and if you have the AnimateLift app running, which you can set to run when MSFS opens, then you'll get a countdown for when the next car is going to arrive. Remember, there's always just going to be one going up and one coming down. Now, to be honest, I found this part of Project Lifts to be quite buggy. Maybe it's because I confused the app by stopping and starting too many times. And Federico says he needs to code it so people don't accidentally allow 2 instances to run. Anyway, I had some problems when starting a ride. When I hopped in, it actually sent me to the wrong end. And then it kind of froze at the top and didn't complete the journey. So yeah, on one hand, that kind of bugginess is always going to be disappointing for people. But then when it all worked properly, the view was, of course, spectacular. And again, it's just something I've never seen in a flight sim before. And that is a really cool innovation. There's an AI commentary track as well. You can have that in English, French, Italian, German, or Spanish. And if you want to see all of the features and options that he's put in, Federico made a video, which I'm linking to here, so you can check that one out if you want to get all the detail. So let's talk about the value of this add-on. Now, if you're doing mountain aviation, whether just to practice your flying skills, to enjoy the scenery, or maybe to do missions in something like the Hype H145 helicopter, or with missions in, say, Intentions, then I can absolutely recommend Project Lifts for the character and the life it adds to MSFS 2024. Bear in mind that career mode ignores add-ons, so don't expect these to show up in the built-in mission system. Riding on cable cars, while such a great concept, for me was quite buggy, but was fun when it did actually work. However, I imagine most people would probably do this only once or twice before getting back to their actual flying. This isn't Microsoft Cable Car Simulator yet. Now, people do tend to ask if Mamu Design can add chairlifts, gondolas, snow cannons, and cable cars, then why can't Microsoft and Asobo do it? Well, that's a fair question, but the fact they haven't done that yet indicates they haven't treated it as a priority so far. So if it's a priority for you, then I say it's worth supporting a developer like Federico from Mamu Design and getting even more value out of what the MSFS platform can offer you, and getting even more value out of this beautiful Alpine scenery. So have fun flying out there, don't crash into those cables, and I do hope I'll catch you in another video soon. See ya!